Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So apparently out of nowhere, Nilah's abilities just got revealed. So shout out to Skin Spotlights for this video, of course, but we're going to be checking them out together, seeing what this new champion can do. We kind of had a decent idea as to what she can do based on the trailer that we actually observed together, which my audio was messed up, so apologies for that. My headphones were apparently not in their like little slot thingy, so the Bluetooth was connected to my computer, and that's why the mic was playing through those, which were in the kitchen anyways. Long story short, oopsie daisies. But let's just get into this. If you guys enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. Let's check out Nilah's abilities, see what she can do, and let's see if this is an overloaded champion or maybe a not too overloaded. So this video is going to be sponsored by FaceCheck. FaceCheck is a free League of Legends app that gives you the tools you need to succeed in League of Legends. The great thing about this app, on top of it being free, is the fact that it gives you so much information. For instance, it even has updated information for any new champion, like Bel'Veth, for instance, right? You can see the standard build path for her in the jungle, skill order, summoner spells, runes, the champions and matchups she's good at or maybe is not so good at. So high threat, for instance, Pantheon, but she's very good against maybe Garen or Jarvan, Viego, right? Things like that. And it works in champion select, so whenever you're hovering any champion you're playing for your role, so in this case let's say Kayn, it'll give me everything I need to know very quickly right here, ready to go, which is extremely useful. It'll also give you an idea of your team and how they're going to perform, maybe how they have performed, and their just general stats. And just when you thought it couldn't get better, they of course also have an overlay for when you're in the game that'll update dynamically as you're playing, giving you the information as the game progresses. Guys, the best part, again, app is completely free, link is down below. Highly recommend checking it out. All right, so beautiful. All right, it's passive, unending joy. I want to see it first and then I want to read it. Okay, so there's not a whole lot to see. Is there anything else? Okay, so let's read it. Nilah amplifies the healing and shielding abilities of nearby allies. Allies that heal or shield Nilah gain a bonus heal or shield for themselves. That's really good. And when an allied champion heals or shields themselves near Nilah, she gives herself a bonus. When an allied champion heals or shields themselves near Nilah, she gives herself a bonus heal. Wow, that's insane. If Nilah last hits an enemy minion, she and her nearest allied champion will gain the normal amount of shared experience plus half of the experience that would have been lost. Dude, that's okay. That is a pretty broken passive. So essentially, she's not very good with initiation type supports. But it makes me wonder, like, if you're playing with like Nautilus support, for instance, and he W's himself, does that count as a shield on himself, which then shields Nilah technically as well? Does that count, or or does that have to be something like a Janna shield, which is like slightly different because it can be applied to anyone? It's like a targeted shield. So that's my question. But other than that, I mean, she seems to be a champion that you want to play with a an enchanter type support, and yeah, that's a pretty broken passive. And even if you don't have an enchanter support, this bottom part is still fantastic with like a pike or something like that. So that could be pretty ridiculous. That's a really good passive. Not too overloaded, but pretty ridiculous. Let's see this Q. Let's look at the visual first. She just slaps him with her whip. That's about it looks like. Let's see anything else. So it looks like her Q is what I said it was. So Nilah's Formless Blade, which is the whip, strikes in a line, damaging all enemies hit. Hitting an enemy will briefly increase Nilah's attack range and attack speed and empower her basic attacks, causing them to splash in a cone and deal additional damage. That's pretty good. And then passive. Attacks and ability damage against champions ignore some of their armor and heal Nilah for part of the damage dealt. This effect scales with a crit chance and converts any excess healing to a shield. So you just ignore some of their armor and heal Nilah. So that's just there forever. It's not like after you Q for like 5 seconds you get this. It's just there forever. It seems like that's a really good passive on her Q. That's kind of ridiculous, actually. It's going to make her scale fantastically. But we did predict the Q essentially being, just some form of like, typical like skill shot line of sight, or not line of sight, but like maybe a cone or like a straight line or whatever. Just like, an auto attack reset-ish type ability, which it essentially is, which isn't too surprising, but the passive is a little surprising. That's a decent passive. So her W is essentially the Gwen W that we discussed. So taking a look at the visual first, is there anything else to notice? I'm assuming it's just going to replay what we just saw, and it is. So we'll pause that. Jubilant Veil, I don't know what that means. Nilah shrouds herself in a veil and briefly gains bonus movement speed, takes reduced damage, and dodges all incoming basic attacks. Touching an ally champion hides them in the veil as well, but they'll be protected for a shorter period. Okay, so it's similar to what I thought, but it's not as exact. So apparently it doesn't matter if the ability she absorbs was a CC ability or not. She just takes reduced magic damage and dodges all incoming basic attacks. So because his gold card is technically considered a basic attack, she actually completely ignored that, which is something important to keep in mind. It's kind of a unique-ish interaction with TF, you know, as opposed to someone like maybe if Annie threw her Q, she would take still reduced damage, which we saw in the example from TF's Q, but she would still get stunned, it seems like, based on what this information has, you know, does tell us. I'm curious if she can touch like all ally champions, and do they all get the veil, or is it just one? Does it say if it's one? Touching an ally champion. I mean, based on the wording, it seems like you can technically do it to all 4 ally champions. Slipstream, which is her E, which is her dash. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy here, but most likely is going to replay that. So, okay. Slipstream lets Nilah dash through a target unit, traveling a fixed distance every time, and damaging all enemies she passes through. She can store up to 2 charges at once. Cast Formless Blade, which I'm assuming was her Q. Yeah. Cast Formless Blade, which is a Q, during Slipstream to pull a wave in your path, dealing damage. After a quick delay and granting Formless Blade's enhanced basic attack. So it's essentially, what's her face? Samira's EQ combo, pretty much. It's essentially the same concept. Now this is her ultimate, which from what I understood is just an Orianna ultimate. Power Whip, Final Burst, pulls the enemy towards the center. She heals, the ultimate rather, heals her for part of the damage dealt, converting any excess healing into a shield. And this effect scales with crit chance and is granted to nearby allies. Well, the healing is granted to nearby allies? I'm confused. Or the conversion to excess, or both. So does she heal nearby allies as well when she uses his ultimate? Well, that's a splash. Damn, that looks freaking sick. I mean, the splash arts look phenomenal. So honestly, it's like it's a weird kit. It's not like a very obvious overloaded kit. In all honesty, it really isn't. She essentially seems like her Q is just a very standard Q, other than the passive, which is pretty broken. Actually, I think the passive on her Q is fantastic, and the passive on her just actual passive itself is pretty ridiculous. I think those are the 2 most broken parts of her kit, in my honest opinion. The W is pretty damn good, obviously not as good as Gwen, but you know, it's essentially like a slightly worse version of Gwen's W, which, you know, it is what it is. And then of course we have her E ability, which is essentially Samira combined with the second part of the E, which is her Q, the EQ combo with Samira. The Samira has as well, same pretty much idea here. And then her ultimate is essentially Orianna ultimate with a heal. So, but of course it only goes around her, unlike Orianna, that she can, you know, place it away from her and then ult it. So I don't know, the kit is not too crazy. It doesn't seem like as, I don't know, again, personal opinion, I'm not like super into the kit. It's okay, it's pretty cool. You can make some pretty cool combos with her E ultimate, of course. I mean, I don't know, it doesn't instantly scream to me like something like that Yone did when it came out, or, you know, whatever, or like even Samira, honestly. But it's still, you know, it seems like a very kind of slightly safer approach, which is good. I think, you know, in this day and age, I think it's fine that they chose this option or this route. You know, it doesn't seem like substantially, you know, just front loaded, which is good. It's more of like a passive loaded kit. You know, it is what it is. So I don't know, all in all, I'm actually pretty okay with this kit. I'm not super like excited about it, but I'm not like disappointed either. I'm kind of like, yeah, it's fine. Kind of like when Nunu's rework came out, you know, I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's fine, it's good. It's not like, you know, I'm not gonna cry about it, but I'm not gonna complain about it, you know. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of what I see. But let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.